But first, more devastating scenes out of Gaza today. Israeli forces have stormed the main hospital in the southern part of the Strip in what the IDF says is a limited operation seeking the remains of hostages taken by Hamas. The southern cities of Khan Younis and Rafah have been the main target of Israel's offensive against Hamas in recent weeks as negotiations for a ceasefire appear to have stalled. Chaotic scenes inside Nasser hospital in Gaza after Israeli airstrikes rained down on Khan Younis. Nasser is the biggest functioning hospital in Gaza at the moment and just the latest subject of an Israel Defense Forces raid.
We have credible intelligence from a number of sources, including from released hostages, indicating that Hamas held hostages at the Nasser hospital in Khan Younis, and that there may be bodies of our hostages in the Nasser hospital facility.
An IDF spokesperson described the raid as precise and limited and said it was based on credible information that Hamas was hiding in the facility. Israeli troops, tanks, and snipers have surrounded the hospital for at least a week, leaving hundreds of staff, patients, and others inside struggling with dwindling supplies, food, and water. Health authorities in the Hamas-run enclave said today's raid had forced out displaced people and families of medical staff sheltering in Al Nasser Hospital, with some 2,000 arriving in Rafah overnight. This as the world braces for an Israeli offensive in the border town currently housing more than half of Gaza's entire population.
An evacuation to a safe place in Gaza is an illusion. We need to push back on the calls that we're all hearing from the authorities to say, you must help us move the people of Gaza to some safe place. This is an illusion.
Without that credible plan, a major operation in Rafah would be a disaster. We agree with that. And we're continuing to talk to our Israeli counterparts about what that plan might look like.
This is a humanitarian crisis. Our role is to get aid into those people. We need your help to do that. We need to do it immediately. And I will close with what one of the volunteers said to me in Rafah. He said, "Madam President, I feel like I'm on a waiting list. We're all on a waiting list to die."
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says world leaders are having a conversation about how to respond if Israel proceeds with the offensive in Rafah. In a joint statement with the Prime Ministers of Australia and New Zealand, Trudeau says it would be catastrophic and that Israel should not go down that path. Negotiations for a ceasefire appeared to have stalled, but Israel said today it will continue to engage in talks toward a hostage deal and pause in fighting. Meantime, family members of Israelis being held hostage in Gaza are at The Hague this week. They're filing an international criminal court complaint against Hamas.
Perpetrators should be held criminally accountable for the atrocity they committed. We trust that the ICC has the capacity to bring about justice.
The world must wake up. The world needs to open its eyes, to look us in the eyes, and begin acknowledging what we've went through, what we are still going through.
The International Court of Justice is investigating both Hamas's October 7th attacks and Israel's response.